merchants?
Well, I think we have a pretty good track record now. We have almost $500 million tracked, so at this point I think we have our methodology down. I think the most striking number here is the 8.2% increase in RPV. So for those 172 merchants that have been part of this, they're seeing an 8.2% increase in RPV for those visitors that are making it to their checkout funnel.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so Zee, help us out on this one. So RPV was something that was absolutely brand new to me. We've always said average order value, we've always said conversion rate, but RPV is the metric that you all introduced to the initiative. Can you help us understand, without going too deep into PhD math, what that actually means?
Right, so it's revenue per visit. So if the goal of e-commerce site is to maximize revenues, this is the metric that directly correlates with more revenues. So if you get RPV lift, that translates to overall revenue growth. That doesn't mean that in this initiative we are not tracking all other measurements and all other metrics. So there's dozens, if not more, of different metrics that are being tracked, but ultimate goal is to maximize revenue per visit. And one of the key reasons, and often what people make mistake, is they just blindly go for more conversions. That would be fine if more conversions means more conversions at the same quality of transactions, like same average order value. Often they don't go hand in hand. You can increase one, but you can decrease the other one at much higher rates. Net, you may think I have higher conversion rate, where in fact you're getting less revenues. So we wanted to make sure that we unify everybody around a central metric that enables uniform, consistent revenue results.
Yeah, and so Joel, for me, this was a new figure or a new metric to follow. Was this something that that you've been following for a while, or is it brand new to y'all as well?
It was brand new from this program, but I mean, to your point, you know, we look at conversion rate and we see merchants all over the place. You gain conversion rate, but your order value goes down. So this became more of a unified way to really measure the impact.
Yeah, and same thing for you, Ollie. Was it new, or was it?
It was new for us.
Yeah.
You see a lot of social engagement today. There's a lot of people browsing the site, and you know, just measuring based on conversion values is not necessarily an accurate depiction of what's working, what's not. So RPV kind of opened our eyes to something that would give us a better understanding of what's actually working.
Awesome, that's great. And so we want to take y'all through some of the initial learnings, but before we do that, we want to set the context of how many tests and what we're testing. When we first started this process, I think Zee, your team put together maybe 2 or 3 that we were doing in the checkout funnel. Today, a year later, how many? It says 120 there and growing, right?
Yeah, Algar just reminded me, last year at the same time we had maybe half a dozen merchants and we maybe had a dozen of templated experiments. Yeah. So in a year we have 170 merchants and 120 standardized best practices, 120 different options that merchants can try on their site to get better results.
And so the picture up there is just at least a couple of them, and we're going to go through in depth some data, at least from 7 of them. But Caitlin, from your guys' team, you guys are leveraging for some of your merchants multiple tests for each one of the merchants, right?
So we can see how certain tests perform on their own or how certain tests perform together. So it's really interesting to see, you know, on an individual test by test basis, but also kind of aggregating them together.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the benefit of the HiConversion platform, is you can do multi-tests at the same time.
Right, it's super flexible, and not only that, I mean, just going back to how far we've come, some of these tests have been running for a year, so we've been able to see seasonal changes between different verticals, different kinds of merchants, obviously different devices. Just watching them organically grow and shift has been one of the most interesting takeaways. Yeah,
and so we're trying to, at a certain point, have a set, I don't think we call it best practices anymore, we call it smart practices, because we know that every merchant is completely different. Dolly, you're laughing, there's so many tests that we've done that we're just thought, oh, this is a no-brainer, but.
Yeah. But, you know, you get into the test and you actually see it's performing negatively and you're frustrated because you don't understand why, because it was a lock to do well.
Because you thought you were an expert before, right? Yeah. So let's get into the data. We have a limited amount of time. I want to make sure that there's time at the end for questions. And so you have a hard time. Are you able to see on the thing?
Not really, but.
Okay. Well, we can do a swap around. So Joel, this is one, I don't know how you shop online, but this is one that is, fortunately it's positive because it's so intuitive for me. It's the way I shop online. When I'm at a brand site, I'm about to check out, I see a promo code, the first thing I do is open a new window, Google for that brand plus a coupon code. This one is a great one, right?
Yeah, so effectively you're collapsing the promo code, so it's kind of the original and the treatment and the experiment.
And so the data, the instance that you're seeing here, as Joel mentioned, left-hand side is the control, the previous, and then the treatment is the experiment. In this one, the only difference is just collapsing it, right?
Just collapsing it. I mean, fewer inputs, fewer distractions on the page.
And it turns out that other people do shop quite a bit like I do, right, Oliver? For this one, it's we'll talk through a couple of those pieces of data, but it's pretty striking, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think just to add on to that, I think this is a really good example of reducing distractions. What we think is happening here is people are treating that coupon field as almost like a call to action. So if there's a field to fill in, maybe I can go look on Google and see if I can find a coupon code.
That's what I do.
That can just lead to distraction and maybe end up with not checking out at all. So I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the note on this one, Zee, I'm going to help us walk through the histogram down there. But the note is, as Zee mentioned at the outset, we're not just tracking multiple outputs, we're also tracking them by device type as well. And so we're able to then categorize. It's a mobile optimization, mobile revenue gap problem, but we're also tackling from a